Have you ever been asked for advice only to have the receiver offended? Does it make you extra careful about filtering? Or have you gotten some perhaps unsolicited feedback that seemed a bit, well, blunt? Today we're talking about being direct, but not the way you're thinking. We're going to examine two kinds of direct instruction and how they both contribute to enhanced knowledge transfer and real teaching and learning. Let's get right to it. We are Reading Guide Group 8.
Hi.
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 Today we're diving deep into Chapter 18 of How Learning Happens, First Edition, exploring Barak Rosenshine's article, Principles of Instruction, Research-Based Strategies That All Teachers Should Know. All teachers should know. How's that for a direct title?
Hot take.
First, let's explain direct instruction and how it differs from, well, direct instruction. There's the all caps DI, which is actually developed by Siegfried Engelmann of Oregon University. The theory is that clear instruction should eliminate misconceptions and should lead to more effective and efficient learning. This model involves general best practices that we see in just about any class. Working groups, participation labs, discussions, lectures, seminars, workshops, observations, active learning, practical assignments, and internships. Basically, all the modalities. The form that learning activities can take. Standard formats, if you will.
But then there's Rosenshine's model of direct instruction, no capitalization, which gives away more specific on what instruction is consciously doing to enhance the student experience. How should discussions be structured? How should you deliver a lecture? What should you have the students be doing during those lectures and labs to really push them in the right conclusions and make the learning sticky?
Rosenshine provided a 10-point list of principles. Let's hit each one with explanation and example.
Yes, let's dive right in. Principle 1, begin each lesson with a short review of previous learning. If you like TV, this is the previously on Game of Thrones. Someone important betrayed someone else, someone got brutally murdered in a shocking twist, and everyone still wants the throne. Oh, and dragons. The review jogs our memory and activates our prior knowledge, so we're primed to accommodate new information and put it in our mental map or schema. In actual learning, daily review is best. It's the process of retrieval and that strengthens memories. So don't wait a whole week, but don't binge it all in one night either. Dragons and murder in moderation, if you will.
Principle 2, presenting new learning materials in small steps and helping students practice it. This is also known as chunking of material, and by practicing it a little bit by bit, you help the students to master small areas before moving on. Otherwise, you'll choke. That's cognitive overload.
Principle 3. Ask a lot of questions to support connections between new material and prior learning. Are they finding the patterns? Are they seeing the relationships? Epistemic questions are great here. How and why not? Have students explained how they arrived at their answer? I was taking an audiology class and some of the questions couldn't be answered, and we had to explain why we couldn't solve them. What data was missing? Ouch.
Principle 4, provide models and worked examples. Hey, we remember this one from cognitivism. Watch me do it. Now you do it with me. Now you do it, and I'll rescue you if you get stuck. Remove the clues and crutches little by little. Spend a lot of time and energy here doing that scaffolding.
Principle 5, guide the practice with new learning materials. Offer diverse practice. Don't just present the material to the students. Get them to approach it from various angles. Explore new concepts and apply them in various ways. Review and test them. Be like Mrs. Frizzle from the Magic School Bus and take learners on adventures. Ungraded pop quizzes are magic at this. And repeat.
Principle 6. Check if students have really understood. This allows you to check not just the product, but the process. It's possible to come to the right conclusions by the wrong means. Maybe make some false statements and ask the students to correct you. Make them question everything.
Principle 7, obtain a high success rate. Students need some small successes to stay motivated. Are they getting enough dopamine hits from figuring it out? Where can you intervene? Remember, success is the fuel. No spark equals no drive.
Principle 8, provide scaffolds for difficult tasks. This is related to guided practice that we mentioned in Principle 5 And don't forget the training wheels. Give students the support they need while they're reaching out for a new concept to lighten the cognitive load. Then, slowly remove the support when they've got a firm hold. This can be blinking red boxes showing where to click in a software tutorial, or info bubbles that can click for hints in a foreign language learning app.
Principle 9. Require and monitor independent practice. When they get the basic concept, let them practice on their own. In a safe environment, of course. Let them fail. Offer help when they ask for it.
Principle 10. Engage students in weekly and monthly review. Remember how the only two learning techniques that actually worked are interleaved practice and practice testing? Both come into play here. This review should be interleaved, various topics, and not directly after they've learned it. You need to give them time to forget if they're going to forget and then retrieve. I recall in French class, we had to have a face-to-face private conversation with the teacher once a month using all the phrases we had learned last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a whole month ago, and relying on our vocabulary and grammar progress to generate responses on the fly. This worked best when we were also doing conversations with classmates every single day. It took the fear and anxiety out of it. Je suis trop courageux.
These sound like great principles, but do they work?
They totally work. Let's look first at the impact of capital DI, that's Siegfried Engelmann's model. There was a big US government-funded initiative to determine the best way to teach at-risk children, K through third grade, what would help these kids acquire academic skills. Over 200,000 kids participated. The project essentially tested 22 different models of instruction, and the big DI performed far and away the best of all. Hooray for capital DI.
But it wasn't just academic skill acquisition. Capital DI also led to higher self-esteem, self-confidence ratings compared to students in other programs.
Hooray for capital DI!
This cracking of the code kicking off a flurry of meta-analysis on direct instruction by Stockard and colleagues, discovery learning by Furtek and colleagues, and learner-centered education by Anderson and Anderson.
What we've learned since just reinforces the fact that direct instruction in all forms really truly works.
When applying these principles, remember to spend more time on explanation, asking questions, giving lots of examples, assigning lots of practices, not drills, but functional practices, and check in often with quality feedback.
Does anyone have a specific project that might benefit from one or more of these principles right away? Which principle? Why? Anything you feel guilty about leaving out?
I am currently onboarding my very first employee. I'm now supervising a student who will assist me with social media content creation for our USU campus in the Uinta Basin. I think I will really lean on modeling and worked examples, as well as monitoring independent practice to get her in the groove of how I do things. We will be in the pool together for a while, but once she's comfortable, the floaties are off.
I'm currently learning Latin on the side. One of the most useful things for me has been the ability to scaffold on learning through worked examples. I'm using a lot of different texts to keep my interest level high, but also a graded approach so I don't have cognitive overload occurring. This has made it both exciting and rewarding when I circle back to review previous chapters.
I'm guilty of not providing review at the beginning of each lesson in my Oracle router simulations. I do a review kind of at the end of each one, like, here's the whole process, here's all the things you did. But then I'm not catching up with that and reminding them at the beginning of each new practice, so I will have to add that. Also, the simulations I'm building are like 70 slides, sometimes 100 slides. I'm going to have to break them into smaller pieces and chapterize them. So a big process, sub-processes, and then you can take a break, or you can roll right to the next big process and do all those sub-processes, but so you can kind of pace yourself. That'll help the learner. I might lose some inertia as people step away, log back in, find their place, and resume. But it might strengthen retrieval too and work in my benefit.
That's our show for today. We won't keep you any longer. Get out there and apply those principles of direct instruction.
Woo!
Perfection.